everybody. We do have quite a few more people that will still be coming on, but that's okay. We will let them join as we begin. I want to welcome, I can see we have 3 new people on today, Julie, Angelique, and Matt. We want to welcome them. I promise you, you will feel today when you leave as if you have a bunch of new friends. Everybody's going to be curious about what it is you do. Everybody's going to get an opportunity to introduce themselves. Do not worry if you try to save the chat and it doesn't save. I always forget to go back in and fix this, but let me explain why it doesn't work. We had some guests a couple of years ago that joined us, and they weren't the nicest people. And they did
still haven't got over it.
I know it. We had some drawings that were not very good of male genitalia. They needed some art lessons, I think. They weren't very good at it. And they took control of the chat and changed their names to the names of the people that were in the group, and then began to put some pretty nasty comments up. So I decided to make it so they couldn't do that anymore. And now I keep forgetting to go back in and fixing that. Whoops, here we come, some more new people. So hello, Anita, welcome.
Hi,
welcome,
thank you.
Welcome, Reginald.
Good afternoon.
And welcome, Shawnee. And Reginald, I do want to say something very quickly before we start the call. Reginald, have you heard from Kara Wilson yet?
Yes, I'm waiting to hear back from her now.
Wonderful. Kara Wilson called me and wanted to know who you were and said she had a great lead for you. So that was great. That's the kind of stuff I like to hear. I think this is Reginald's 3rd time with us. And guys, that's really what this is all about. Is the continuity that you give me by continuing to show up gives the people that are regulars that confidence that if they share your name with someone, that you're going to take that seriously and follow through with those people. And that is very, very important, especially if you have contacts you've dealt with for many, many years. So you give me the continuity, and I promise we'll give you back the connections, the introductions, and the opportunities you're looking for. Welcome, Tara.
Hi, Lynn. Hi, everybody.
Have you for as long as we can get you today. I know that that's an issue for you.
I'm good today, though.
Excellent. So I want you guys to know that, again, you will all get opportunities. We do use our chat. That's very important for all of you to know. In the chat, I would like you to put at least your name, your email address, and phone number. You can put everything else that you'd like to put in there. If you've got a website, if you want to tell them in detail what it is you do, who you're looking for, all of that is just fine. But remember, if Julie does not put a phone number in there, and Bonnie Mae has a great contact for her, and she likes to phone and give that contact, if it's not in there, she won't give it to her. If Julie forgets to put an email and Dawn says, I have a great contact for her, and she doesn't see an email, not good. So we want to make sure that you at least have an email, a phone number, and your name. Everything else, I don't care how much you put in there. That's perfectly fine. So welcome, Colleen, and welcome, Mark. Colleen, I believe you're new as well. So welcome. We're happy to have you here with us. So guys, I'm going to start it off. We do have a few speakers that will be on today. The speakers speak for 5 minutes, and you will, I will put some information in the chat how you can become a speaker if you're interested. And so with that said, I'm going to start with one of our speakers. I'm going to start with Deanna Brakefield. She has become so important. I met her through this meeting about a year and a half ago. She is incredible and has helped me with so many of our specialty groups that we've got. So Deanna Brakefield, the floor is yours for 5 minutes.
Yes, ma'am. So I am Deanna Brakefield. As many of you know, I am the owner of Lionheart Kingdom Marketing and the host of Neurodivergent News Live on KFred Radio. So today I actually wanted to talk about something that impacts a lot of us more than most of us would hope, and that's Facebook and Instagram. Now, I know everybody loves social media, right? It's your favorite thing to do every single day. You love to sit down and scroll for 5 hours and just waste your entire day on social media. And even though, you know, we all absolutely adore our social media platforms, Facebook and Instagram are losing the social media war. So in the last 3 months, we have actually seen what Mark Zuckerberg calls a meaningful decline in interactions on Facebook and Instagram. It seems like, people are finally tired of the bull and they are switching over to messaging apps. They are switching over to Blue Sky and LinkedIn, guys. I don't know if you know this, because some of us have gotten a little leery of LinkedIn over the last couple of months, based on just the fact of how many DMs we're getting about, hey, let me sell you this thing. LinkedIn is really, really, really changing, especially with their new video integrations. They are actually trying to be a significant competitor for Facebook. And they're winning. It's actually very surprising considering that for almost a decade, Facebook and Instagram have been the social media leaders for so many business owners that are just looking to be out there and promote. And guys, like I said, that's changing. Meaningful, actually, Zuckerberg doesn't want to tank his own NASDAQ, but that means that they've lost 25% of their usership in the last 3 months. And we saw this decline happening in the first or not the first half, excuse me, the second half of last year. We've been seeing those numbers drop for about the last 9 months. And it's really because people are tired of being sold to. And so with that said, I'm not going to sell you anything today, but I am going to let you know if you're having trouble with your social media, if you need just a quick, hey, how do I make a content calendar? How do I make content that people are actually going to engage with? I would love to have those conversations with you. And if you're not sure about me because you're going, oh, she's just another social media manager, she's just another marketer, please have a conversation with me, because that is just not the case. And I know everybody says that, but I would love to have a one-on-one with you, especially if you're new. I know there's a couple of people in here. I'd love to hear about what you do, and I'm going to be paying attention as you get your time today. So again, I'm Deanna Brakefield. My information is in the chat. I will repost that in just a minute, and everybody have a glorious day. I'm not going to take up the whole 5 minutes. I never do.
You want to tell them where you're from?
Well, if you couldn't tell from the accent, I am Birmingham, Alabama, born and bred, and have been here my entire life. Oh, the question of the day, the car thing. So y'all are going to get a kick out of this. Way back in the day, I used to drive a Chevy Malibu, and everybody that I knew always borrowed my car because, well, you have a dependable car, everybody wants to use it. So anyway, one day my roommate borrows my car, and she's on the way home from dropping her husband off at work. She's about halfway home, and she's smoking a cigarette, and she flicks it out the window. Well, about a mile later, she starts to smell something and pulls the car over as my entire back seat engulfs in flames, where the darn thing flew back in the window when she flicked it out the window. There's nothing in the back seat for her to put this out with. And so she's beating the flames in my back seat with paper Aldi bags on the side of the interstate. So that's my fun car story.
The exact same thing happened to a friend of my husband's who was a police officer who drank a lot and threw his cigarette out the window, and it started his back seat on fire. God, he couldn't figure out why it was so smoky. Oh, Lord. Good story, Deanna. We're going to do a few of our introductions now. So we're going to start with Stacey Altamari. You are up first.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Stacey Altamari. I am an EFT practitioner and life coach. And my job is fabulous because I help you navigate through life. And holy cow, do we need some navigating through life today. So I help you get through the bumps, and I help you climb those hills, and I help you level out. I help you find balance. In mind, body, and spirit. I'm a whole body practitioner. I don't just deal with tapping on your mind and clearing it and being calm. I deal with your body as well through a supplement called the ASEA, which is very native to your body, and there's zero side effects. And I also deal with life coaching, which is the spiritual end of it. I help you with tools such as tapping and how your chakras work with your body and your system, and how your life is a mess if you don't have a strong root chakra. And I help you to develop that and support that root chakra through grounding mats, through stones, through walking in nature barefoot. Give it a try. And if you don't like to do that, plant yourself a little box of dirt somewhere with a chair and go out there and plant your feet in that dirt. Grab a book and sit there for a few minutes. Allow the earth to actually help heal you vibrationally and make that connection to give you a strong root chakra so that you have a strong foundation for the rest of your life. And you'll also get the sun if it's out, which will also help heal you as well. And you can reach me. My stuff is in the chat, but I'm at EFT4wellness.com. My email's there, my phone number's there, everything is there. And I give a 20-minute consultation if you want to just get to know me and connect. I would love that. Oh, my funny story. I'm from Connecticut.
I'm going to also come back to you again, too, when we're finished, because you are one of my speakers today. But I want you to tell them where you're from and give them your story about something having to do with fire.
I am from Connecticut. I'm just down the street from Lynn. Lucky me. And my car story, well, when my husband and I were dating, which is 48 years ago, it's a long time ago. When we were dating, he had a Monte Carlo, and it had a great back seat. So we would always go to these locations like the reservoir, the dam, places where people didn't, hang out. But we always seemed to catch the warden or the ranger that was there. We always got caught. One time we got a ranger that said, "Hey, are you old enough to be with him?" And I was like, "Thank you so much." Yes, luckily I said yes, or he'd have been gone in handcuffs.
Thank you very much, Stacey.
Thank you.
Keith Robinson. And before you go, Keith, I want you all to know that we started the beginning of the year that we would select one person, usually whoever was the first one on the call with some of our regulars, and we would take that person. And if you have not met with Keith Robinson, I highly advise you to do it. If you have, or you work with Keith, I'd like everybody to give Keith a testimonial. This is in an effort to raise our SEO ranking for each and every one of us. And so Keith is the person that we have selected this week. When I send you all a thank you email, I will have all the spots that you might be able to put a testimonial up for Keith. So Keith, that's your homework, Keith, is to send me those, although I will look also. And Keith, would you like to do an introduction to yourself for a minute?
I shall do that just for you. Greetings, everybody. Keith here, coming in from Ireland. And I help people all over the world to take control of their long-term health and wellness. Unfortunately, there's more and more people in trouble than ever before. There's very little nutrition left in the food we're eating, so therefore the body fails to start repairing itself and working on itself and replacing itself. And not only that, very few people are manufacturing enough nitric oxide in their arterial system. And when you don't manufacture enough nitric oxide, you start building up plaque in the arteries. And fortunately, there is a way to help the body to make a lot more nitric oxide, so we can melt the plaque in the arteries. We can clean the arterial system. I have a colleague who actually proved this to herself by going and get a CAC scan, which is a calcification score of her arterial system. And a friend of hers is only 30 years of age, and he went and had one, and his calcification score was 30. And she's 62. And she went in and her calcification score was 0.5. That means she has a completely clean arterial system. That means there's no plaque there to rupture. That means the risk of a heart attack and stroke are gone out the window. Anybody can do that. I've been doing this with people for 17 years at this point. And I know there's some people, I mentioned it last week, but just for those that are new, I guided a young gentleman about 2 years ago who had multiple sclerosis to the point where he needed a walker to walk because he had no balance. And so he followed our protocol. And within a couple of months, he was actually able to go from the walker down to a pair of crutches. The following couple of months later, he was able to get rid of one of the crutches. And a couple of months later, he was able to get rid of the second crutch. And that man walks between 5,000 and 10,000 steps a day now. He's only 23 or 4 at this point, but he has completely repaired his problem. In other words, the body can fix anything. All you need is a bit of guidance and being told what is possible by people who have seen what is possible. And that's me. Contact details are going in the chat.
Beautiful. You want to tell us your funny story about a car?
Yeah, there's one comes to mind. There was a friend of mine used to work in Bord which is the Irish peat bog company, and he was telling us this, and I thought it would be perfect for this. He's this guy used to live on a back road, and a car broke down just beside his house, and they got a puncture, but they had no jack in the car. So, does any of you know what a scissor jack is? You screw it and it rises up in the center. It's a scissor jack, very handy little jack. So they went to this man's house and they knocked on the door and they said, "Would you have a scissors jack?" So he said, "I surely do somewhere." And he went off and he pulled the house upside down, inside out, and he could not find one. And then he started to think, "I never met these people before." So he says, "A bit strange." So he went back up to them. He says, "How did you know my name was Jack?"
All right, Keith. Got it.
He pulled the house asunder looking for his scissors.
I love it. I love it. Bonnie Mae Civic, you're up.
Oh my goodness. I don't want to follow Keith. Yes, I do. My name is Bonnie Mae, and I work as a coach. And my most favorite thing to do, I had such an amazing conversation with Lynn yesterday, and I was telling her how my favorite thing to do is to use my throat muscles and encourage others to do the same, because I just truly don't believe that we have the same magic happen in our worlds when we're doing things on social media. Although it's helpful, not saying it's not, but when we actually speak to each other, that's where incredible things happen and creativity goes. So my favorite clients are those that are stuck with their financial ceilings. They're just not able to bust through that next level. And, I love those people that say, "Oh, money isn't everything." It's like, oh, okay, go ahead and live without it. Most people's bitch is that they don't have enough time. Well, that drastically changes when the financial picture changes and you're in more choice. So I love people to live in choice. I'm a big lover of choice. So if you want to reach out to me, my cell is 403-461-7685. I live in the Canada lands, in British Columbia.
Beautiful. And do you have a funny story about a car?
Oh my gosh, I have many, but the first one that came to mind was years ago. I was with my ex-husband, and we were traveling from British Columbia to Alberta. We were delivering a vehicle, and I don't remember why, but I was in this little car and following him in this pickup, and he was following me. Sorry. And we get to this construction zone, and I had a cassette tape in the stereo, and I was listening, and it was some sort of training tape, but it was hilarious. Like the story that this man was telling, I had tears rolling down my face, and I'm laughing, completely not present to what's happening. So, the lady is standing there, the flag lady, with her stop sign. So, I stop and I'm laughing hysterically, and she kind of, she gives me an odd look. Anyways, she turns it to slow, and she walked away, and I followed her with my little car. Pretty soon, I'm kind of going over this dirt and bumps and whatever, and this machinery's in my way, and I'm kind of do this to the guy in the Bobcat, like, "Could you get out of my way so I could go around you?" So he backs up, and I look over onto the highway, and my husband is over there doing this. I had driven right through the construction site. And it was like, get out the other side. He says, "What were you doing?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I was laughing. I was completely not present. I was listening to my stereo, and I just followed her." Yeah, don't do that. My little car was a good little 4x4 car.
Oh, good. Good story. Good story. Don Telling Houston, you're up.
Okay. Hi, Lynn and everyone else. So good to see new faces. So, my name is Dawn Tellinghusen. I live in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I have been an Avon Independent Ambassador for now, this month, 42 years. Now, a lot of people say, "What's Avon?" I thought Avon was gone. All of those things we hear all the time. Well, Avon is not gone. And every 2 weeks, we have a new brochure. This is the current brochure right now. And let me tell you, if you need to look at the expirations on your mascara, on your any makeup item that you use. If you've had it more than 6 months to a year, and it's probably needs to be replaced. Right now, Avon's got up to 65% off of their makeup in this brochure. And also, this little top I'm wearing just happens to be in the Avon brochure too. But let me ask you, I'm here to fill the needs of anyone that's looking to, either improve their skincare, improve their self, whatever it may be, because I am also a coach of over 200 other ambassadors. But let me ask you, when was the last time you got a lip or eyeliner for only $2.99? Okay? So I just want to support you in whatever way I can. Again, my name is Dawn Tellinghusen, and I love what I do.
Beautiful. You want to tell them where you're from?
Oh, I did. Indianapolis, Indiana. Originally from originally from Chicago area, before that from Michigan, before that from St. Louis, before that from Minneapolis. That's my whole life story.
Like a little gypsy all over the place.
And my car experience. Yes, I need to share with that. I don't know which one exactly, if I should go back to when I first started driving or if I should go within the last 3 years. I think I'm going to use the one in the last 3 years. My husband and I were coming back from an event that we had been to. It was mid-afternoon, and yes, I had fallen asleep in the car. Well, I woke up to him pressing on the brakes with all the cars in front of us at a standstill. And so he doesn't hit all these cars. He's taking the ditch, but it was a flat ditch, good enough for us. But in front of that flat grass area was one of those driveways where they have the cement in the middle, and you either go right or you turn in, and there's cement. Guess what? He hit right on that cement little center, threw us up in the air. We didn't roll. We didn't get hurt or anything. Landed in the glassy area. The car was a mess on the bottom, as you can imagine. Anyway, that car was totaled by the insurance.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Now she's afraid to fall asleep in the car again.
I am afraid to fall asleep in the car.
Yeah. Thank you. Julie,
have you got a sad story then? Have you a sad story then as well as the funny story?
Yeah, Julie, it's funny now. It wasn't real funny at the time.
Julie, you're up. Everybody wants to know about Julie Brooks.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is springtime in most places, and that means we get to plant some things. But if you plant potatoes, you can't expect to get strawberries. I'm Julie Brooks, and I am a clinical hypnotherapist, and I am here to tell you what you think about, what you read, what you watch. Social media all matters. It's all like planting a garden. It all goes into our minds, just like our nutrition goes into our bodies. If we put the wrong things in our minds and the wrong things in our bodies, we are going to get negative things out. So just be aware of what you're putting in your mind and your body. I love what Stacy had to say about grounding. That's awesome. And Bonnie Mae, that was probably the best car story I've heard in a really long time. I don't have a lot of funny car stories, but the thing that came up for me was my first car ever. And it was a 1980 Chevette. And it had a mind of its own. I pushed it more than I drove it. And if you turned on the turn signal, you got windshield washer one time, turn signal the next time. You were never sure what you were going to get. But the windshield washers didn't actually work. So it was a mess. That car was, looking back, hilarious. At the time, frightening. I'm actually located in Denver, North Carolina, and I'm originally from Canada.
Denver, North Carolina. I don't think I've ever had anyone do that. And Julie, where in Canada?
I was originally from Winnipeg, but I spent the last almost 10 years in Vancouver.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. And we hope you stick with us. We're very interested in getting to know more and more about you. And you're going to be interested as well in one of the specialty groups that I have, which I'm going to talk about in a few minutes.
Awesome.
It's just for you.
Thank you.
So with that said, guys, I'm going to stop for a minute and I'm going to go back to one of my speakers. And so, Stacey Altamari, although you've introduced yourself, you are one of my speakers today from one of my specialty groups. So the next 5 minutes are yours.
Okay, thank you. And thank everybody who sent recommendations through LinkedIn. They were absolutely so beautiful. And so, yeah, it was, very heartfelt. So thank you so much for that. My name again is Stacey Altamari. I am a clinical EFT practitioner. What does that mean? It means I deal with trauma a lot. I dabble in other things like goal setting and health and wellness, but mostly it's trauma based. So because the world today is dealing with more trauma than it is aware of, I deal with a lot of people who are trying to work their way out of that. And I do it through EFT. And if you're not familiar with that, it's tapping on acupressure points. What that does is it calms down the amygdala, which is the almond part of the brain, which holds all of our stories. So it's actually sending a calming signal there, telling them it's safe. It's okay. You don't have to be upset. You don't have to be anxious. You don't have to be fearful. And it allows your brain to actually open up. Because when we are in a state of anxiety or fear, our brain shuts down. When we are in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, our brain shuts down. Every part of our body, most of the organs also shut down, because the only thing that your body should be concerned with is running, is getting out of the danger. So it's like running from a tiger. Although today's tigers are everywhere and everything. So your body has not learned to reset itself. And I give you tools to do that, because your body needs to be on reset and out of fight, flight, freeze, and fawn, or you are constantly this. You're constantly tight, uptight, anxious, fearful, and you're not even breathing properly. So what I teach people is breath work. I teach them how to look at life differently. I teach them a different perspective of what they're seeing. And it's easy to do that when they're coming from a mind of calm instead of a mind of fear. So my practice incorporates life coaching. It incorporates facilitating, circling facilitating. And if you're not familiar with that, it's just creating a safe space, a sacred space where people feel safe. They don't feel judged. They're not criticized, and they're not fixed, because nothing is wrong with you. Nothing. You are not broken. There are things that need to be cleared away, but you are not defective. You are not, there is nothing wrong with you. So I create that space and I help them feel that safety where they can be completely vulnerable. And I'm fortunate that I get a lot of people who often will say things to me that they wouldn't tell their best friend. But I think that's natural in life, because our best friend might judge us, right? But we will tell a complete stranger everything about our lives, because we don't know them, they don't know us, and we may never see them again. But when we tell people we know, we literally come forth with 1 million masks. We have more masks than we know. because we're one person at work, we're one person with family, we're one person with certain friends, we're one person with another friend, we're one person with strangers. We're different. There's different aspects of us, and I help differentiate those aspects. I help you see them for what they are and why they were necessary. And I help you feel, because in our culture, it is not okay to feel what we're feeling. And I am literally telling you, feel it, because you can't let go of it if you don't feel it, no matter what it is. And I also teach people that literally it takes less than 15 minutes to go from angry, resentful, whatever, to happy and calm. And they're both on the same frequency. So it's not like you're climbing a hill to get to happy and calm. You're not. You're just shifting over. And I teach people how to do that. It's easier than you think, but it will take practice, and it will take some effort on your part, because you've practiced being who you are for many years. Up until this point, you have always practiced what you believed about yourself, what people told you about yourself, what your beliefs are. Now you need to practice and retrain your brain to something different, because you are not that person. You are so much more than what everyone tells you you are. So I want you to see yourself in the mirror as someone completely different than what you see, than what someone has told you. And that is what I do.
Beautiful. Thank you so
Thanks,
very much,
Lynn.
Stacey. Appreciate you very much. So you guys can reach out in the chat to Stacey. She'll get back in touch with you. You can have a wonderful conversation with her.
Absolutely.
So we're going to resume a few more of our introductions now. So Angelique, everybody wants to know, what does Angelique do and where is she from?
I have a lot of irons in the fire. My name's Angelique, obviously. I'm from Medicine Hat, Alberta. Currently, I am enrolled in an end-of-life doula training. I have one more exam to complete, and then I will be a certified end-of-life doula, which is very exciting for me because that incorporates all of the modalities that I've been doing for years in one place that really aligns with me helping individuals and their families support them in the passing of a loved one or a pet. So I do laughter yoga. I have a YouTube channel that I do daily laughter videos on, and I do wellness videos on there every Wednesday. I'm certified in mindfulness. I love to work on labyrinths, breath work, Reiki. I've got a lot of different things that I enjoy doing. And during COVID, I created 3 children's books, and I authored 3 children's books that are fun activity books for kids to be creative, to color outside of the lines. I'm really about allowing individuals to be who they are, and to especially let kids just be as creative and not have to be like, oh, this is how a sun should look. They can have it however they want, and I think that's really important. So that's a little bit about me. Funny car story. I don't really have a funny car story, but the first thing when you said that came to mind was my parents. I was probably about 7 years old. So I would have been 7, my brother would have been 5, and my other brother would have been 3. And all of us were in the back seat of the car, and my parents pulled into this drive-in theater with outside, big, huge theater screen. And my mom got us some popcorn, so we were sitting in the back seat eating popcorn. And I think it was Smokey and the Bandit that was on the screen, and we were all just like it was crazy. All of us were glued to this big screen on the outside and in the car, and it was a great memory. So that's really all I have for my car memory. But yes, I'm excited to be here.
It's a great memory because a lot of people these days don't know what a drive-in theater was. So that was wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you, Angelique, for sharing. Matt Malowski, you're brand new. Everybody wants to know about you as well.
That's funny. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. My name is Matt Malowski. I'm a human capital management rep for a company called Assure Software. HCM for short is a fancy term for payroll. I've been in the payroll industry 26 years now. Don't have a territory, so I can sell anywhere in the country. Assure is the largest payroll company no one's ever heard of. The reason being is that when we got started back in the 80s, we were selling our software to other payroll companies. So we were a licensor of our software. And about a dozen years ago, when the economy started tanking, our resellers wanted to get out of the industry. So we started buying back our resellers. So we got about 100,000 clients nationally. Myself, I probably have, 400, 500 clients that I've sold, in the last 5 years.
Excellent. And you're located where?
I'm in Chicago.
Chicago. Okay, that's fine. And
the suburbs, but yeah.
Great. Do you have a funny story about a car?
Yeah. How much time do we have here? This is just so weird that we're having this conversation. December 8th of 2023, I was coming back from Green Bay, Wisconsin, driving in the fast lane, truck in front of me, pickup truck gets cut off, slams on his brake. I go on the side of the road on the highway. Long story short, I got flipped my car twice doing 75 on the highway. When I stopped rolling, it's a funny story because I walked away with nothing. I got pictures. I was trying to put a picture in here, but I for some reason I can't load the picture of the car. But as I'm hanging upside down in the car, people are trying to get me out of the car, and I'm looking around. I go, man, she's gonna be pissed. It was my wife's brand new car.
Oh no. Oh no. Not even thinking about himself. He's worried about getting killed when he gets home.
So I'm out on the highway talking to the guy that helped me get me out of the car, and I'm taking pictures of the car. I just keep on saying, man, she's going to be pissed. And so I called my wife, and she was a school teacher, and she was on break at the time. So she was taking a nap. My daughter, I call her. I go, hey, go wake up mom. I was just in a car accident. So on the middle of the highway, my wife is yelling at me because I told her car, but then I'm yelling back at her saying, I'm okay.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So we bought 3 cars that year within a year because I told her car, bought a new car for her. And then my daughter bought a car. And then I bought a car right after that. So we're actually, if you're a Nissan fan, we have all Rogues in our family. The car that we had was a Nissan Kicks, and it was too light. I shouldn't have flipped. But when I went and picked up my stuff out of my car on that Monday, this was on a Friday, the jack from the trunk was in the front seat of the car. So when I flipped, that jack came flying forward to the car. So I'm lucky to be here.
Hey, you're lucky that wasn't in your head. Beautiful. Yep. Elizabeth, you're up.
Wow, all these car stories are bringing back a lot of memories. Hi, everyone. I'm Elizabeth Gifford Maffei, and I help to find and deconstruct and uncover and release behavioral patterns that keep us being stuck. I am a trauma, drama, and karma disruptor. I do that through being an intuitive life coach. I am a Reiki master, angelic healing practitioner, and I utilize lots of very interesting tools on the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual level to help to release from the cellular level, not only in the physical body, but in the etheric body, those emotions that are trapped, that keep us stuck. And it is my honor to do so. And you can reach me anytime at 321-303-8649. I am currently and have been here since 1985 in Central Florida, originally from New York. And I thought I'd go back to college days because why not? So is there anyone here who knows what a CB radio is? Oh, yay. Okay. So I had, driving back from college, I lived my college was about close to 2 hours away. And I had use of a green 1970 Pontiac GTO. Talk about turning on the ignition and not having to step on the gas, right? It just had a mind of its own. It was awesome. But it was having a lot of issues, and I was driving back from college to go home. And here I am on the CB radio. Breaker19. This here is Snuggles. I'm having some little issues here. Can y'all help me? Why I talk like that, I have no idea because I was from New York. However, that's how you talked on the CB radio. And within minutes, I had 18 wheelers surrounding me in the front, in the back, on both sides, protecting me, making sure I was okay all the way home. It was awesome. That's my story.
ALM781. I still remember my handle. Yes. Terrific. Good story, Elizabeth. I did see it.
You'll never guess what my handle was on the CB radio.
What was it?
Tiny Tim, and I'm 6'2".
Unbelievable.
I was going to say Huggy Bear.
Bobby Bennett, you're up.
All right. I am Bobby Bennett. I am from Connecticut, and I am a certified financial planner that's dedicated to helping you achieve financial security and success. I specialize in the 6 areas of financial planning: cash flow management, where we optimize your budget; investment planning, where we grow your wealth; retirement strategies, to ensure a comfortable future; tax optimization to keep more of your earnings; risk management to protect against uncertainties; and estate planning to secure your legacy for your loved ones. I use a personalized client-first approach to create tailored strategies that align with your unique goals and dreams. And I guess a funny story involving a car actually happened on Easter, just a week or so ago. I go to church at a high school, and where they will a lot of times have a totaled car at a high school, to show the seniors not to drink and drive. Well, they had that, and where it was positioned was almost in a parking spot, but not quite. And it's weird because the lights were on, the headlights, and I was even wondering why the headlights were on. And to kind of show the innocence of the youth, my son, I could see like a puzzled look on his face, and he's like, "Why is that guy driving that car?" Because it was totaled. So, he just the innocence of him asking that question, I thought was cute.
Very good. Bobby, I had a wonderful conversation this morning earlier with Matt Malowski. And I think you and Matt Malowski need to make sure you make a connection, because I would normally make a connection between the two of you. But because he's here, I want you to watch for the chats, and I want both of you guys to have a conversation.
All right, I will. I'll reach out. Thank you.
Wonderful. Before I get to Nicole, I'm going to tell you a little bit about who I am and what I do. I'm Lynn Lyon, who's Legal Shield and ID Shield. And I normally give you guys a little story about how someone uses Legal Shield, and that's a good way for you guys to understand what the product is all about. So I had a gentleman that had a medical emergency. He called 911. He was a veteran. That's what's really important, is that this gentleman was a veteran. When the paramedics arrived, they told him he needed to be transported to the hospital. He said he couldn't do that unless the VA was informed that he was going to go, and they had to give their approval. Well, it was a Sunday, and there was nobody on call to be able to give that approval. So they took him to the closest hospital, which was fine because he was in critical condition and he had to undergo emergency surgery right away. A few weeks later, he got a bill for $20,000. He submitted the paperwork to the VA for payment, and they denied it. Their reasoning for that was that he had not been under the VA's care for the 2 years preceding this emergency. Well, he went on to collect all his paperwork from the emergency. He collected all the paperwork to show that he had been seen for this for 2 years prior to the emergency, and submitted that again. For 2 years, this dragged on before he finally got Legal Shield and got Legal Shield to get involved. Legal Shield took care of it, went through the appeal process for him. He then received 2 checks, one for $1,050, the other for $50, because he had been making minimum payments to them so that his credit would not be messed up. And then he received a letter from the Veterans Administration's Claim Payment Center stating that they had made the last payment of $125 and would be taking over all future payments on this, and there would be no cost to him. So he got back all of his money. But it's sad that that's the way we treat our veterans, guys, that they have to go through all that mess for something that we've guaranteed them they're going to get. But again, guys, it's just the comfort of having Legal Shield so that he did not have to carry on with this. Somebody else could take over the fight for him. So with that said, I actually have two funny stories for you real quick about a car. One was my third child was learning to drive at 16, and I had him out for his first time on a highway that had 2 lanes going each direction. And so we're actually in the slow outer lane when a car comes up next to us, rolls their windows down. It's a gentleman who looks like he's about 105 years old. My son is scared to death as a 16-year-old with his hands on the wheel, 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock. And the old dude yells at him and said, "Would you learn to drive?" And my son turned his face to him, almost crying, saying, "I'm trying to learn to drive." I never forgot it. He's been such a careful driver all his life, but he was so embarrassed that it was an old guy yelling at him to learn to drive. My second funny story is a gentleman I know, and he was out in like Wyoming where there's no traffic, there's no people, there's nothing out there. It's just dead dark. There's no street lights, there's nothing. And he's speeding, which he was known to do. And all of a sudden he saw blue flashing lights in the rearview mirror. And he had Legal Shield, so he said, "Well, I'm going to be okay." So he pulled over on the side of the road, and he's waiting, and nobody came up to the side of the car. And he looked in the rearview mirror, and he still saw the blue flashing lights, and he said, "Why is the policeman not approaching me?" And he waited patiently, and pretty soon he was getting ready to get out of the car and see what was going on. And when he gets out, there's nobody behind him anywhere. Got back in the car, looked in the rearview mirror, still saw the blue flashing lights. He had a Bluetooth headpiece on and didn't realize the blue flashing lights were from the headpiece. He pulled himself over. I said, "That's pretty bad. Pretty bad." So I don't drive with the headpieces on anymore because I thought about that story a million times. I probably would have pulled myself over. Anyway, those are my two stories. So Nick, we're going to go to one of our speakers again, and then Nicole, I will come back to you. So Jeff Reichel is one of the gentlemen who's in one of our specialty groups as well. And real quick, I'm going to let you guys know, I have 4 specialty groups and 2 new ones that will be coming on this year. Hold on to your seat, Deanna. The 4 specialty groups I've gotten, if you're interested, please let me know. I did put some information in the chat. One is for health and wellness people called Wellness Inspired Lifestyle. So if you are someone who does that, we have a group of like-minded people who educate people about what they do. Because think about it. Nobody wants to be sold anything you guys have. I know you all have great stuff, but nobody wants to be sold anything. People have to make buying decisions. And in order for there to be no buyer's remorse, we need to educate them so that when they purchase, they're not unhappy with whatever it is that you've provided them. So the health and wellness group is to educate people on all the health and wellness issues and then let them choose to purchase from you. I have one called Mastering the Money Matrix that is for insurance and financial professionals. I have one for small business called Business in a Bundle. I have one for coaches, and the coaches one is absolutely wonderful. Doesn't matter what kind of a coach you are. We have 2 new groups that will be coming on this year, a group for intuitive people. So Julie, I hope you're listening to that. I think you might fall into that group. And I also have an authors group. So Angelique and Julie and Matt, I already heard groups that I think you guys would be wonderful for. So if you're interested, please drop it in the chat and let me know. And now we're going to go to Jeff Reichel, who is in one of those groups. Jeff, are you in one or are you in 2? I think you're in one.
Money Matrix.
Wonderful. So the next 5 minutes are yours, Jeff.
Thank you. Do I have the ability to share?
Sure.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jeff Reichel, and I sell money. And that really means is I'm in the mortgage business. I help people buy homes. I work in the Chicago area for a federally chartered bank, so I actually can lend. While unfortunately not in Canada or in Ireland, I can lend in all 50 states. Today, I wanted to present 5 mortgage misconceptions. Before I do that, a quick funny car story. Like Elizabeth, I'm going to go back to college. It was the summer of 1992. I had a summer job in a grocery warehouse, and I had access to a Cutlass Sierra with cloth seats. But this is before the days of mobile phones and weather apps. And this particular week, my parents were on a trip. My grandma was staying with us, my younger siblings and I, to take care of us. And my grandma, some of you may have had the same type of grandma. She was 4'11", but she was certainly in charge of the family. And she had very strict instructions that I was not to drive my dad's brand new car. So beautiful sunny day. It's a great day. I have a first date that night, really looking forward to it. Go out to lunch, not a cloud in the sky. I forget to roll up my windows. For those of you that live in the Chicago area, it was the day of the tornado, 2:00. We go down to the rail pit. The skies are purple. You can't see out the door more than 3 feet. The rain is so hard. And I had my windows down. So I get into my car after the storm passes. There's 8 inches of water where my feet should be. The seats are soaked. They're cloth. And I'm supposed to go on a first date. So I am pleading with my grandmother to let me use my dad's car, getting nowhere. I call my uncle, his brother, my godfather. He tells me I'm not even going to try to convince her. It was a lost cause. So I call to cancel the date. Fortunately, she had her own car, so we were still able to go out. So that's my funny story.
Great.
So, quickly, 5 mortgage misconceptions. The first one, you must have 20% down payment to buy a home. That is not true. For those that are in the military or who are veterans, you can utilize a VA loan. Those actually are the only true no money down loans that are still available. The FHA loan program allows for a 3.5% down payment. A lot of people know about those two, but still are under the misconception that they have to have 20% to use a conventional loan. You do not. Any borrower can use a conventional loan, assuming they qualify, with a 5% down payment. Many first-time buyers can utilize a conventional loan at 3% down. Notice that's even lower than FHA. Misconception number 2. Interest rate is certainly the most important factor when shopping for a loan. Just get the lowest rate. I'm not suggesting that it's not important, but I wouldn't say that it's necessarily the most important. No lender can control the market, right? So you're not going to get a 3% loan today because that's just not where the market is. Even if you're shopping, there's a pretty finite, pretty small range that you're gonna notice. I would also say make sure that whenever someone is promising you something, it doesn't mean that's necessarily what they're going to deliver. Make sure when you're applying, you get your rate locked. And I do want to show a comparison. Let's say you want to borrow $300,000 to buy a house, and you've got 2 choices. Both 30-year loans, one at 6.25, the other below 6% at 5.8. You would think that the 5.8 loan is better, right? However, that lender charges more in fees and points at the rate of about 2 extra percent, which translates to an extra $6,000 in cost. So while the first option has a $72 a month higher payment, netting $864 more per year, in order to make up for that extra $6,000 in closing cost, it would take 7 years of payments basically to break even. The problem with that is that the average mortgage is only utilized for about 3.5 years. Most people either refinance or move and won't ever get to that 7-year point, which again is really only breaking even. So I generally don't invest to break even. Misconception 3. Well, you've got to wait at least 1% drop before you would refinance on a loan. And then once it is dropped 1%, hey, that's automatically the time to refinance. So let's assume, even though it's a little higher than what I might charge someone, let's assume about $2,500 average closing cost for a refinance. What would be the return on investment of that $2,500 in cost? Let's say first borrower, maybe somebody who's been in their house for a while, they've only got $100,000 left on their loan, and they've got a 15-year loan at 6%. Well, they're not going to go down 1%. They're going to go down 1.5 points, all the way to 4.5%. On a 15-year loan at that loan amount, that's only about $80 a month. It's going to take you 32 months to make up for those closing costs. Whereas a 30-year loan at $400,000, you could go down, in my example, only 0.75%. So we're not even at that 1% mark. You're going to save $196 a month, and it's going to take you just over a year to get a return on your investment. So not always the case. Number 4, PMI is evil. Now, some of you may say, well, what is PMI? So just very quickly, it is an insurance premium that the borrower pays for the benefit of the lender on a conventional loan. And it is used to insure over the difference between whatever that borrower is putting down and that traditional 20% benchmark. Most people pay it as a monthly premium, but you can pay it up front once, or you can do what's called a split and do it both ways. The bigger your down payment, the higher your credit score, the lower that rate of insurance is going to be. Like all insurance, it's risk-based. And even if you do an FHA loan, you do have this insurance. They call it something different, but it does still apply. So how can I use this to my advantage? Well, I'm going to give you 2 scenarios. The first scenario is a borrower who says, you know what, I don't have 20%, but I'm going to buy today anyway. I'm going to put 10% down of a $250,000 purchase, $25,000. Second borrower says, nope, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait until I save up 20%. Now, this borrower does not live at home, so it takes them 5 years to save up that difference. Well, what happens in those 5 years? That price of that same house is now $300,000. So borrower number 2, they actually had to save up $60,000 to make their 20% down payment. Borrower number 1 also now has a house worth $300,000. With some of their appreciation, 3 years in, they were able to do a refinance and remove their PMI. So now 5 years later, they're not even paying PMI. And simply by just making basic mortgage payments, their mortgage has been paid down now to $210,000. So by buying 5 years earlier, not only do they gain the appreciation, but they have a lower loan amount now too, because A, pay down, and B, lower purchase price. And then the last one, oh, it doesn't matter what lender you use, just make sure you get the lowest rate. Well, first off, I say make sure you know somebody that you trust. They're going to deliver what they say, and they're going to deliver an approval by your closing date. Very important on a purchase. I would also say that someone's knowledge, their experience level, and having access to various loan programs is instrumental in the right solution for you. In a very quick example, I had a couple come to me who had used another lender for several transactions. They wanted to buy now. I don't know how it is in your area, but here supply is short and a lot of people have to buy first and then sell their current home. And so they're struggling with their pre-approvals because now you have to carry 2 payments in order to get pre-approved. I had some experience in some programs. I helped them consolidate some of their debt, making their pre-approval much stronger and much higher. And now they are in sort of that level that they want to be able to afford that next house as their family grows. I will put my contact information in the chat, my phone, my website, and instructions on how to download my free mortgage app. All 3 are great ways to reach me. And thank you, Lynn.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Jeff. Very informative. Great information. So I'm going to pick back up where I left off. So where is Nicole? Nicole, you are up next.
I'm right here. How are you?
Hey.
I'm loving these car stories. They're amazing. I'm glad to see you as always, Miss Lynn, whether it's early in the morning or a Thursday afternoon. So I'm Nicole Borghi. I'm an event strategist and a host, and I get you seen and heard through virtual events and even live events. So these chicky boos behind me are the gals from Confronting Domestic Violence. And last year, we hosted our first gala in Del Mar, California. Gorgeous, gorgeous place. So much fun to raise awareness and to get to really hug people. But most of the time, everybody I meet, like today, we're in the virtual space. And I bring innovation and technology to help entrepreneurs and nonprofits create summits that not only raise revenue, but with For a Cause marketing, they can expand their reach and their revenue and leave a little bit of lasting impact. I traditionally host my own events with leaving a little portion of that goes quarterly back to confronting domestic violence, because how are they going to get paid? How are they going to make money and brand? And that's one of the sponsors I utilize for my events. You can use them for yours too, whether it's a puppy, a kitty, a nonprofit, or something like your Gucci bag. You want to make some money. You want to call the Avon lady, help her get her pink Cadillac. I don't know if they give them anymore, but that's what I do is I raise awareness for speakers to get seen and heard, so they can, really relax into their throat chakra and go into the speaking and selling their products. I really believe that there is a call to action that needs to happen. We need to talk about our business at some point once we get to know, like, and trust one another. But I do have this really great a quick little testimony that Karma Spence left from Hacking the Matrix event that I held a month ago. And she says here, bonus, the host, Nicole Borghi, also has some wisdom to share. A woman after my own heart, many of her pearls of wisdom had a geek angle and slant. Yeah, I'm from Silicon Valley and Pong, early in the 80s. So I go way, way back. This is one of my favorites. Unlike Neo, we don't have to wait for some dude in a trench coat to offer us the red pill. We're already in it. The question is, do we take control or let the system run us? And the reason to reflect back on my own quote, and sometimes we don't remember that if you're a light worker, you kind of get that download to get in the space. But it's really to get to share that authors and entrepreneurs don't have to wait for permission to write your book. Get into that solar plexus, get into that really creative space, and you can give yourself permission. Hello, whether it's from a publisher, gatekeeper, or your own imposter syndrome. The reality is technology has removed these barriers, and you have everything you need to write and publish. So whether you're an entrepreneur or solopreneur, I have events coming up too for business and for coaches. But that's to say you have a stage and a place with me always, and I'm here to help you generate that income and revenue after the fact. And I believe, so for the funny car story, I was 16 getting my license. I had, if you guys saw in the chat, I had an AMC Hornet. It was this big bright green Hornet, kind of hashbacky little mini station wagon. And I drove the hell out of that puppy. However, I didn't have a license, but I was 16, so I knew everything. So I went to the DMV because my mom, I was a latchkey kid. My mom would leave for days, months, hours, weeks, years, whatever. She'd be gone. So I was like, I got to get my license. I'm supposed to be, I'm supposed to be legal somehow, I guess, right? So I go to the DMV. My friend Rachel comes with me, and we're two blondes giggling it up with all the windows rolling down, hot rodding in this little GMC, pulling down the hill into the DMV. And didn't know that the lady that was going to test us happened to be on her cigarette break back in the day where you could still smoke in California, watching us giggling and getting out of the car and talking trash and going into the DMV. And I'm like, I'm here to make take my test. Didn't realize that you had to have an adult with you. Well, there's no adult in my home. So if I can raise myself, I figure I could come take the test and do it. So what we did was we had to go outside, run down the hill, tell her my mom was at the grocery store. I know, ma'am, we weren't supposed to drop her off, but she didn't want to come here. My mom's not too into this kind of stuff, and she doesn't really care. So I didn't give her, that was a short story of my mom's life. But going back in there, she let me take the test, and I passed. But I had to come back to take the test. I was like, I got my friend with me. I got my BFF. We're cool. She's like, no, you're not. So I had to retake the test and have an adult drive me down there, pretend there was an adult in the car that really gave a hoot. They didn't care whether they were sober or not. So I just rented somebody down the road and put them in the passenger seat. And I ended up driving. So, I drove 16, 20 hours a day for security across the greater Las Vegas area. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
That's a great story, Nicole. It's a very great story. Anita, before I come to you, Deanna, would you like to tell us about the book club?
Of course. Book club is one of the favorite things that we get to do every week. Excuse me. Every Friday at 11 a.m. Central, we meet on Google Meets. Lynn has already dropped a link in the chat, but I will redrop that in a moment. Right now, we are at, there comes Miss Dawn with it. We are reading High Road Leadership by John Maxwell. We are actually on chapter 9 tomorrow, Taking Accountability for Your Actions. This has been a phenomenal book, you guys. It has really blown away my expectations. And as we come into the last quarter of it, we would love to have you guys join us, because in just another week or so, we will be voting on the next book for the book club. So now is the perfect opportunity to join us if you're interested, every Friday at 11 a.m. Central.
It's great to get to know more of you on a personal level and not just a business level. Just give yourself 1 hour to relax, bring whatever you like to drink or snack, and come and share some time with all of us and get to learn from these great books.
Absolutely.
So,
you get to put your hair down and it's a blast.
Nicole wants the book club link, so you can put that back in the chat for her again. Thank you so much, Deanna. Anita, you're up.
Hi, my name is Anita Bala. I'm from the Chicagoland area, and I'm with Melaleuca. I help people save time and money by simply switching brands, and I'm also a pronunciation coach for English as a second language, primarily for the Latino population. But as long as people know how to speak English, I can help them with their pronunciation skills. And then a funny story that my mom and I experienced was when we were out one night really late, and it's normal for us to be out late at night. But anyway, so we went down this one road and I saw this one animal cross my path, and I kind of wondered what it was because it dashed so quickly. And then another one was right in front of me, and I'm like, what's that? And my mom's like, it's a deer. And then all of a sudden I hit the deer, and I felt so bad about it, but luckily it didn't kill it or anything like that. It just kept running, and there's like a little blood on the car, but the car had more damage than the deer did, though. But I felt so bad for the car too, though, and we were just lucky that it wasn't worse than it was. So that's my story, though. But
good.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you, Tara Hayes. We're glad you're here with us.
Hi, everybody. My name is Tara. I am an author and a publisher. I am from New Jersey, and my books are about my experience with anxiety. The name of my business is called Terrified Publishing, and I help business owners create and publish books that share their stories, create impact, and attract their ideal clients. If you have a book idea and don't know where to start, I can help. I'm actually hosting a workshop tonight, helping women write their books. The workshop is called Dare to Write a Book. And for my funny car story, I was just beginning how to drive. I was a terrible driver, and I was driving in a neighborhood, and there was this guy. He was in a truck, and he rolled down his window, and he said, "Where did you get your license from? The dollar store?"
Must be the same old dude that yelled at my son. Thank you, Tara. Tara, we definitely want you to be a part of that authors group. We think with the publisher, and we have obviously some people who do editing and things like that, we want to make sure everybody that has the resources to write a book or have written a book are welcome to be in that group. We'd love to have you be in there. You make a wonderful person for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Colleen Stubbs, everybody wants to know, what does Colleen do? Colleen, you are up. Uh-oh, Colleen, we have no sound.
How about now?
Beautiful.
Okay. Helps if I turn my mic on. I am Colleen Stubbs, and I am from South Central Missouri. So the Ozark Mountains, yes, and it's like that. Let me back up to 2021. 2021, we came off of COVID. My baby moved out. My mom was diagnosed with an illness, and it was decided that she would need long-term care for 10 to 15 years. And so I sold my two favorite businesses, which were Shabby Chic High-End Boutique, and I also did boutique Airbnbs. I had 4 of those. I sold those to care for my mom, and she passed away, unfortunately, 5 short months after I sold my properties. So I woke up one morning and I had no reason to get up. It didn't make a difference in the world if I got out of bed. And I thought to myself, what am I ever going to do with myself? Now, I'd been in business for 35 years. I love building businesses, building them up to a profit, selling them for a profit, and then I take a break, live my life, get another harebrained idea, do it again. I've done it many times. And I love the building part of that. So I thought to myself, do I want to go back into building a business? I could go, we still have a building downtown. I could go back and do something there. I have all these things. But what I really wanted to do at 51 years old was to be in my home and to be here for my 12 grandkids. So I wanted to be available, but I needed a purpose. I needed to have something that I could nurture since my kids were out of my home. My mom was out of my home. I needed something that would open my creativity and allow me to stay active creatively. And so what I decided to do was to take all of my experience I gained in 35 years and help midlife women find their purpose by building online businesses that they love. But one thing I learned through building businesses online or building businesses in real life is that burnout is a very real factor. And so I've put a twist on it. And I've also created at the same time a way to teach these women how to build the businesses without the overwhelm. We do that through automation, through providing templates, resources, and a lot of one-on-one coaching. So I'm Colleen with the Balanced Life CEO, and I'm so excited to be here.
Now, I'm sure I'm going to say stuff that you've heard a million times, but where in God's name did you get all those grandchildren? And you don't look like anything more than a mother of young kids. So I don't know where you got all these people from.
We're not done either.
Nicole probably showed you where to go rent them all.
No, yeah, that's right. No, and we have, so 2 days before Easter, we celebrated my youngest granddaughter turned 1, my oldest granddaughter turned 13, a day apart. And then I also have 2 babies under 1. So we are literally like stair step. It's like total chaos here, which is why I have a virtual background. So you don't have to see my crazy.
You don't have any wrinkles, so you're doing something right. We're going to have to find those secrets out from you.
Well, I sure love all my grandbabies. They are the highlight of my life. So let me tell you my funny car story. It's only funny now because I've raised teenagers. I did not sneak out when I was a teenager. I didn't consider it sneaking out because my parents didn't care where I was necessarily, as long as I was home when I said I would be home. Having said that, we dressed like maybe it was 1985. Yeah, the shorter the skirt, the better the view. And we went out like that, right? So not only did we go out, but I know you ladies wore that skirt too, so don't go there. And I had the legs for it, so it was okay then. Anyways, we went out to a club. We went clubbing in Orlando. I'm from Florida originally. I live 4 hours from Orlando. So my girlfriend and I got a wild hair and went clubbing, decided that we had it in with the security guy, the bouncer would let us in the back door. So we go clubbing, spend the night away. On the way home, I get a flat tire. Well, what is a girl to do? But I pulled out a quarter from my penny loafer. You know I did. And I called my daddy. And my dad said, you got yourself in this, get yourself out of it. And I'm like, Dad, I'm like 3.5 hours from home. And he said, I'll see you in the morning, honey. Figure it out. And so I walked around the truck stop and I figured it out. And I made it home. Yeah. And my dad was waiting up and he said, get some rest. And so I got home, I think probably about 6. And I think I was allowed to sleep till 7, at which point my dad woke me up and said, come on, we got some things to do. And I got my very first lesson in how powerful I am as a woman. He said, how'd you get your tire changed? And I said, oh, Daddy, these truckers. And he said, I bet they were. I bet they were all over that. He said, let me show you something. So here I am at 98 pounds, soaking wet, jumping on a crossbar to loosen my lug nuts because my dad taught me at 7 a.m. how to change my tire, change my oil, do all the things so I would never need another trucker in my life. He said, now, a good girl who's been raised right, knows how to do these things. A smart girl will never have to do them for herself. And I've never changed another tire.
These stories are all beginning to weave themselves together here. A lot of similarities with Nicole and a lot of similarities with Snuggles up here. Snuggles people, those truckers kept her safe and then ran down to make you safe.
And I can't believe that I did that as a teenager. What the hell was I thinking? But you know what it did for me, really? That my dad waking me up, and I will tell you that half the football team came to watch me change a tire in my driveway because we all lived in the same little cul-de-sac, and they all were like, oh, what you doing? But what it did for me is it told me that I can do hard things. And there's never been a thing that I can't do. There are lots of things I do hire out, but I can do anything I set my mind to. And I knew that when I was 16 because Daddy told me.
Did you see the information Keith Robinson just put in that chat?
I did not.
Mini skirt should be like a good speech, short enough to keep the interest and long enough to cover the subject. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy. I'll tell you, this has been a very eventful day. Thank you, Colleen. We are not going to forget you. You had better be back.
I'm so glad to be here, and I will be back. Thank you, Ken, for inviting me.
Mark Bartosik, you are up.
Hey everyone, sorry, internet's been acting up a bit, but so hopefully everything comes through well. All right, starting off, I've heard a lot of people saying like I was from this place and this place before and that place before. So I live in Chicago. Before that, I was in Chicago, and before that, I was in Chicago. I have been in Chicago my entire life, 33 years. My parents before me and their parents before them. So I always tell people, I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. So if you worry about like me being the come and go, pop in and pop out, it's like, no, I'll still be here. I work with Ambit Energy, helping people save and make money through their electric and gas bills. Think of it this way. Every time you pay your electric bill, someone gets paid. Why not let that someone be you? And as the public service announcement to Chicagoland area people, anyone with a ComEd bill, ComEd has been saying it for the past 18 months, but you know, they take it less and less in the news now, will be significantly raising their rates June 1st. So if you don't want to be paying higher bills in through the summer, call me now rather than later, because everyone always calls me after the high bill comes and goes, oh, can I get my savings now? It's like, we can get you savings for the fall because it takes 1 to 2 billing cycles to change over. So that's why now is the time. You can reach me at 773-370-2748. Yes, I talk a mile a minute because I do test our product every day with, you know, to put in your quarter inside the electrical socket. No, it's just a matter of high energy, high excitement. So always on the move. You can call me the Energy Guy or the Energizer Bunny. For some fun car stories. Oy, I got so many stories I can tell, but I'll narrow it down to one. But as a quick history of my car ownerships, my first car, for people who know cars, my first car was a 2000 Hyundai Elantra GLS. My second car was a Scion XA 2005. Third car was 2016 Hyundai Elantra GT. Fourth car was Hyundai Kona 2019. Fifth was a 2023 Kia Niro EX. And my now sixth car is another Kia Niro EX because I had to change the first one. That's another story. That's not the one I'm telling today. My story for today is the fun one where I used to do food delivery. So you know I got a lot of stories. But I take a food delivery at about 9 o'clock at night or so. And I always turn the car off before, you know, going to the delivery. We're in the city. I'm not in the suburbs where I can leave it in your driveway run. I'm like, no, I'm turning my car off as I walk it. I get back to my car and it's not starting. I'm like, crap. I don't know super much about cars, but I know a little bit. So I open up the hood and I noticed that the wire connecting the battery to the rest of the car is frayed. So it's not getting the start. I'm like, I got to get back to the restaurant, especially at this time. Like, you know, there's another delivery there. There's, you know, I got to cash out. I manager waiting. Well, my dad always said, you look along the curb in the city, there's always stuff along the curbs. I looked along the curb and lo and behold, prayers answered. I found a gum wrapper. For anyone who remembers the TV show MacGyver, and not the newer one, the older one, I had watched episodes of that with my aunt when I was a kid. So I knew. And I also watched Magic School Bus. I know that aluminum conducts the electricity. So I took the gum wrapper, wrapped it around the wire of the battery, and I rubber banded it so that way it would stay on there. And I started the car. All I needed was the start. I didn't turn it off after that until I got, you know, because like back to the restaurant, you know, I did leave the thing running, told a coworker, like, watch my car real quick. I can't turn it off. He's like, I'll explain later. Run in, cash out, like, and take my food, go home, turn my car off. I live next door to a body shop, so they got it worked out the next day. They just had to, you know, put a new wire there. But there's always one of those things. It's like, whenever you're in trouble, look along the curb. You never know what you might find. And a little bit of foreshadowing. That helped me in an electrical situation. And now I sell people electricity. So if you want an electrifying story or an electrifying income, give me a call.
Our very own little MacGyver. I am surprised. Unbelievable. A gum wrapper. Okay. Thanks, Mark. Julie Clark, you were up.
Hello, everyone. It's nice to It's nice to be here. It's nice to join you. So I am Julie Clark. I'm in Middlebury, Connecticut. I am with Nikan Wellness. We have products that comfort and support the body. So whatever issues or concerns you have that you would like a better solution for, please reach out so we can have a conversation. I know that Nikan Wellness in your life makes a difference because it has been helping my husband and I for 28 years. We have an awesome new collagen supplement. Everyone needs collagen for the inside of the body and the outside of the body. It's been my experience that there's good, there's better, and there's best. And I'm looking for people who want the best because it's my experience that Nikan always has the best. We have just come out with a brand new product called the Golden Gut Formula. So everything starts in the gut. I'm learning about it. It's not available for customers until May 17th. I just got my samples, so if anybody's in the Connecticut area would like a sample, or if you're not and you'd like me to mail you a sample, send it to me. But everything starts in the gut, and this is a very new product. It's top of the line. It's got the prebiotic and the probiotic. And it's also got the postbiotic, which is something new that the majority of supplements do not have. So if you would like to know more, I can send you email info if you contact me for that. My why is that I like to help people and I'm willing to collaborate with people. I always like to see how I can help you, how we can help each other. I've been saving testimonials for 28 years in my computer, so I might not know the answer right away, but I can often find it, or I can find someone else that can help you, because my why is that I like to help. So please reach out. Let's collaborate and see how we can help. And Anita, I haven't forgotten to go onto your link. I just have not had a chance to do that yet because I was away for a few days. So if I can help you, please reach out. Let's meet and have a conversation. Thank you.
Beautiful. And what's your funniest story regarding your car?
So I always wanted a Pontiac Le Mans. That's what I wanted to have. But way back then, it was way too expensive for me. And I decided to get married instead. So my husband and I got a little blue bug, a little blue Volkswagen that was our favorite car way back when. And we kept it until the children started coming, and then we had to upgrade. So that's probably my car story, and also that my dad taught me to drive and to always have the big picture. And the worst thing to do would be to run out of gas and have to call him because I didn't have gas. So he taught me that when it said a quarter full for the gas, that meant empty, and that I was never allowed to go below a quarter, and I'm still like that now. I like panic if I don't have a full tank of gas, and once it gets under a half, close to a quarter, I need to always fill it up. And then the other lesson is always, and I actually only had to use it once, if you think someone's following you, drive to the police station in the parking lot and beep your horn if they follow you that far, but usually they won't follow you that far. And if someone follows you they say for several turns, then you know they're really following you. And that only happened once, and I made I made 6 turns, and when I turned to head to the police department was when the person left. So you just sort of times you know that. So always think safety. And if you do, especially for a woman, if you think that you're being followed, do not drive home. Go to the police department and don't even get out of the car. Just put your beep on your horn so that somebody in there will come out to help you.
So, by the way, side note on that, just because I did work at the police department, there's not always somebody available to come out for you, and they're not always at the station, depending on what city you're in. So call 911 while you're driving. Do not wait till you get to the police station because they will come right up on the person following you.
Oh, that is even a better idea. Thank you, Nicole.
Good information, guys. Very, very good. Ken, Dichi, you're up.
Thanks, Lynn. I'm Ken, and I'm a virtual assistant and a social media manager. I help coaches, small business owners, and entrepreneurs with their admin, tech, and social media content. So I'm from the Philippines, but I live right now in Cambodia. So I'm probably the farthest among the group right now. And I cannot really recall a funny car story because I never really drive, so it's not very common in the Philippines to drive at 16s, but it's nice to hear everybody's story.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much. And thank you for inviting Colleen. That was wonderful. So Jam Jam, you are up. We love Jam Jam. He's a part of our specialty groups as well. He's our youngest person who's always on here, and we just adore him. So Jam Jam, you are up.
All right. Well, so in terms of AI, it's been slightly quiet, although more of a lot of implications, specifically in the UAE. The UAE is actually going to be using AI to help it write laws, write legislation, but it'll have a human oversight, which would be very interesting to see how that works, if you know anything about the UAE. Another big thing happened specifically in Europe, the Europeans being Europeans. Sorry, I hate British people. I'm just kidding. I don't. I just think beans on toast is absolutely disgusting. And whoever thought of that idea, that's a war crime. Okay, that should just be a war crime. All right, it's not good. Anyways, the EU is fining Meta and Apple again, $800 million dollars, which is interesting because a lot of it actually boils, and the reason this does tie into AI is because a lot of it actually boils down specifically on the way that they don't allow developers to tell people that are downloading their apps they can actually download their apps from different app stores. So we're seeing this kind of like crackdown because most people actually don't know this, but if you have an Android, there's multiple different app stores that you can actually download your apps from. You don't have to go to the Google App Store. And now on Apple, you're forced to because it's Apple. L phone, by the way. You guys buy the same phone every year with just a different camera. Another big thing, though, is the model that came out, 4.1 from ChatGPT. Apparently, it's deemed unsafe because there wasn't a lot of actual security testing done for it, which is interesting because they said that it wasn't warranted, in quote, for them to do any test to see if it was actually, viable. But that is majority of the AI news. Another really cool thing I would say is Google's DeepMind. Basically, they're predicting the end of disease because they're using AI to really learn in depth about different diseases, and they're going to use AI to help kind of navigate that. So let me also show you guys some videos because there's some really cool stuff that's happened.
I love all of this, Jam Jam. I don't want to interrupt you, but I love AI. So
It's all I teach. It's all I do every day.
I love AI.
This one's actually very interesting here, by the way. So this is actually a face punch. This is done using the Higgs field AI. So again, there's these different AIs. There's Kling, there's Higgs face, there's Helio. There's a whole list of them. I go over them all in my course, which I'm updating here soon. But let's take a look at this because I think this is very interesting that it actually gets the facial expressions pretty good when a person actually gets punched. And as you see, it's just going through like different things that it can create. But I think that's, again, it's very interesting because of the fact that the details are there, right? Now, again, right, if we take this image here, right, or this clip here, you notice that obviously it is in bad quality, but you notice that everything that the object that's around the object is very like obscure and blurred, right? Like you can't really read those license plates, right? And even if you could, you'd realize that those license plates are just gibberish. If you look over to the left, it's the same thing. Like these mopeds, they don't really look realistic, because this moped over here barely even has any handles. So there's like little small things to just take a note of when you're looking at AI videos. Um, this is also really cool because this is actually extremely important, actually. So for those that don't know, Midjourney, or if you probably hear it on the news, Dolly E, right, is a image generator. Okay, it generates images. The reason that's important is because sometimes it can generate high quality images. It can use to be generate all sorts of different images. The reason I'm bringing this up in particular is because you can take those images and then put them into an AI video tool that will then make that image into something realistic. For example, the image input here on the left and then the video here on the right. And it does this multiple times with multiple different things. The reason I mention this is because this is the best way to create propaganda by just basically taking an image and then uploading it to these AIs. And a lot of different people have obviously done this. I've known people that have done this, right? Like they did this during Biden's term, they did this during Trump's term. They basically take these clips that are completely like ludicrous and out of like complete context, and then they make it say things or do things that actually they weren't doing at all. So this is something to be alert about. But other than that, though, I don't have any odd, funny stories in the car because I don't know. I'm just like not. I don't know. When I drive, I mean, I say really silly stuff because like people also don't know how to use their blinker. You know, like the thing that the car comes with for a specific reason to tell you that, hey, I'm turning instead of just, oh, I turn now, and then you turn and then like forget that there's five cars behind you, you know? Like, anywho.
Jamar, you're from Chicago. I'm sure you've seen crazy driving
Yeah,
things.
yes. Yeah, that's it's only worse down here in the South because people in the South are, how do I say this? Friendly. Uh, they are
Are
intriguing individuals, when it comes to mannerisms in the way they speak.
Hi, y'all.
It'll
Yeah,
get better, Jamari. You'll get stories the older you get. So,
I
guys,
will.
I'm going to hurry up and put you guys in some private rooms so that you get a chance to speak to each other. You're going to be in there for 5 minutes. I promise you, I'll have to drag you out. You will have a good time. So enjoy yourself. And I will see you in 5 minutes. So the
Are we
rooms
getting
are
sent to our room?
open. Here you go. Let's see who you got.
Lynn, am I supposed to stay here with you, or do you want me to run away to room
No,
5?
I got you with me so that we can fill this time.
Okay.
You're going to tell me some great information about K-Fred Radio. Is there anything we need to know? Or if not, share with me more information about book club and what books we have choices of that are coming up.
So actually, I have not put that list together yet, but typically we take 2 or 3 of the books from the previous vote and then add 1 or 2. So, you know, we always have something circulating, but we also don't let books just fall to the wayside just because they didn't get picked this time. But no, I thought I was going to get Jamari. Southerners have a way of, eat him up.
I think we heard some good stories today.
Absolutely. I mean, like, did you see the faces when I'm describing the scene of my roommate standing on the side of the interstate fanning a fire with paper bags?
Oh, no. I'm telling you, we got some great stories out of this one today. Too bad Fred wasn't here. He probably would have had one of his own.
I mean, Fred was, yeah, there's no telling. We love Fred.
Absolutely.
And we will be so excited to have him back at K-Fred next week. He has been on a business trip and spoiling those grandbabies for 2 weeks, and we miss him.
Said he got to meet the interns, and he said that went exceptionally well.
Excellent. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
so
like, you know as well as I do that things are always moving at Cape Red.
Absolutely. He said a bunch of those interns want to stay with him, so that's good.
Okay.
So what's new in Deanna's world?
Deanna is also coming off of most of a week of vacation, although I won't lie, I ended up having to cut it short because Fred decided to leave town for 2 weeks. But that's fine. It happens. And you've got to be ready. That's the main thing about business. The people that roll with the punches seem to be the ones that have the most success.
I agree 100%.
Well, I mean, you have more business experience than I do, so
I think that, sometimes it's the speed bumps that we keep hitting that make us stronger in everything that we do. We don't like hitting them, but if everything went smooth, we wouldn't learn anything about what we're out here doing.
I mean, you are absolutely correct. Because if I couldn't roll with the punches, then I would not be doing a radio show now. I would be doing a $0 a month business that nobody wanted to be a part of because marketing is boring and generic.
Think about it. You would not be able to coach people on how to get through those tough times if you haven't gone through them yourself.
Exactly. I mean, I think struggling at the beginning of your startup is actually a blessing because if everything goes super smooth for you and you go from $0 to $10,000 a month in the blink of an eye, when you do hit that roadblock, you are going to crash and burn because you do not know how to deal with any of the adversity.
Absolutely. But what's new with Beverly these days?
She no longer has to have glasses.
How did that work out?
My little sweet pea was born with a lazy eye. And I mean, like, we noticed it when she was just a couple of days old. It would just wander off on its own. And they thought she was going to have surgery before she was 3. So when she was a year old, they put her in a pair of glasses that they're not normal prescription glasses because one side is a completely clear lens, just like, fake dime store glasses. And the other side is an ultra strong lens beyond anything you would see in a normal prescription pair of glasses, just to force that eye to come forward and train it.
Does it pull that eye the direction it wants it to go?
Mm-hmm. And so after almost 2 years in glasses, off and on, they have said that her eye has strengthened, no surgery, and it's almost gone and no more glasses.
Very interesting. I have a brother-in-law who's got a lazy eye, but he's had it all his life, so they obviously didn't have this kind of technology when he was young.
Well, I mean, up until about 30 years ago, they would just put the kid in an eye patch and pray for the best.
Absolutely.
So I'm completely random, but I don't talk about being a mom a whole lot, but you and I talk about Beverly constantly. But Lynn, I've got a senior graduating in less than a month. I am losing my mind. I don't know what to do because he is my little baby, the one that I've actually been with the longest. You've got a bunch of, huh?
Is he going to do prom this year?
No, prom was last month and he decided not to participate. He's not been very interested in a lot of the senior activities, which was a little concerning to me at first, but he just wants to be done with school.
My oldest grandson here was like that. He was not real social in school. He didn't care for a lot of the people that he was around. When he went to college, everything changed. So that may very happen. Your son may blossom when he gets to college or moves on to get out of high school.
He's also
I do have one that's a senior this year, so she's the same age as your son, and I have one that's a sophomore. Both are going to prom this year.
Oh, fun. I loved prom, but...
Now, the one who's a sophomore has a steady boyfriend. The one who's a senior, no, not so much. Has not cared about any. She went to prom last year with a guy that liked her, but she didn't care for him. She got another guy that likes her now, but she doesn't care for him. I don't think she has much interest right now in guys. I think hopefully she goes to college. She keeps thinking she'll do like her older brother. She'll meet somebody great at college.
Well, hopefully she does. I mean, I met my husband during college. He wasn't a college student, but it was during college.
All right. He knew where to find you. That's all that mattered.
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you been married now?
Me and Jeremy, let's see, 2010, so 15 years.
So it's worked out great.
But we've been together for almost 20. I was stubborn. I refused to marry him until I was sure we wouldn't get divorced.
Uh-oh.
That was great for his ego. Well, you've heard the stories before. My mom was married and divorced 9 times.
9 times? Did she ever date?
I think for about a week between marriages.
I don't know how she kept straight all their names or what her last name was at any given moment.
I mean, I don't think she did. I think she just was like, you know what? I'm Doris.
Well, they're all going to be back to join us in 30 seconds. And then
I know I'm boring today.
Go one more time again.
Ma'am?
I said they'll all be back in less than 30 seconds now, and then we'll let them all go one more time again.
Absolutely. I'm so sorry that I'm boring today.
You're not.
I just haven't had anything exciting happen. Like I said, I took the week off. I haven't done that in 2 years, so this has been an experience.
It's 5 seconds and nobody's here yet. You think they're all having a good time or what?
Usually.
Thrown out.
Oh man, I just dropped the like nastiest and like amazing quote right there. You just like completely just
All
yanked
had
me.
to be thrown out of your room again, guys.
That was an amazing quote, Jam. You should share it with all of us.
Yeah, I just put it in the chat right there.
Oh, you did? Okay, perfect. Thank you.
All right, guys, I'm going to recreate the room for you guys again. So you take a couple seconds, and then I'll get you guys all back in another room here. I have to make sure that
By the way, Colleen, what Android device do you use, by the way? You're muted, by the way. If you just hold it up to the screen, I could tell.
All right, guys, the rooms
I
are
have
all
4
open.
notes.
Let's see who you got this time.
Okay. The other things you could use is the Samsung store, or there's another one. I'll have to go find it. Give me a minute.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, Lynn, before I jump into the next room, friggin' the person you connected me with last was an Ambit customer.
Get out of here.
I think Mark froze on us again, but it'll be fine.
Somebody dropped off. I had to throw him in a different room. Okay. So what else is going on? Mark, I threw you in a different room. You got 2 people in there with you. Can't hear you. You're muted.
Yeah, loaded and like unloaded. Oh.
Hang on. I'll move you again. I'm going to move you there, and now I'm going to move you back to room 1. Okay, you got 2 people in your room.
I'm jumping.
Can you get in there?
They locked me out. They're not taking me. They let me in the room.
Are you in now?
No, I'm with you guys.
All right, let's move you back to a different room. Try this room. Can you get in this room?
I think he's being stubborn and difficult. That's just because it's Mark Bartosik.
Well, he's going in with Anita now. I had him in with Julie and Matt, 2 people he didn't know, so that he could hopefully do something there. But now he's in with Anita and Jam Jam.
That'll be fine. He probably needs to hear something Jam Jam has to say.
Good. So I think we got some fresh, nice people today. That we had some interesting stuff. I think the hypnotherapist might like the intuitive group.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. She might like the health and wellness for now. Angelique looks to me, she was the doula. I think she might like the health and wellness group.
Oh, absolutely.
Matt Malowski is the payroll guy, so I already talked to him about the small business group. And Colleen is helps the midlife women to build their online businesses. She might like the coaching group.
Okay. So, I mean, they're all new, so we'll just have to see. You never know.
For the small business. She might be good for the small business group as well, since she helps people with small businesses. Because we've got more holes there than we do in the coaches group.
True.
And I think Julie Clark should think about the health and wellness group. So I'll follow back up with them and see if any of them are interested.
Sounds like a plan.
Yay. So what else do I need to know?
This week is actually going to be a big week on Neurodivergent News Live on Sunday. I've talked a little bit about one of our permanent panel. It's myself, my husband, Jeremy Brakefield, and a gentleman from Australia named Stone G, who is a clinical therapist that works with neurodivergent individuals. And he's been an absolutely amazing resource on the show. And this week is actually, our topic is his wheelhouse, talking about rewriting our narrative. There's so much that people talk about neurodivergence. There's so much prejudice, whether people realize it or not, because there are long held cultural beliefs about our capabilities and our intellect. And Stone is just absolutely amazing at being able to reframe a lot of those conversations to actually be productive. And so this week, with rewriting the narrative, he is just going to absolutely shine. We're not having a special guest this week. We're just going to let Stone take center stage, and I think it's going to be amazing.
How did you meet Stone?
So actually, funny story, through this networking group. Many of us who come here regularly know Miss Kara Wilson, Taking Care of Business. She is an absolutely amazing corporate coach and has so many projects. And when I was first playing with the idea of doing the live segment, I reached out to her and I said, hey, you wouldn't happen to know anybody that would be interested. And she gave me a list, but Stone's name was at the very top of that list. And I never got any further because he was raring to go.
Interesting. You never got past him. That's good. Well, you've got the rest of the list to go. Can you imagine what else is on the list?
So we've actually had a few of the list on as special guests at this point, and my hope is to continue featuring so many wonderful entrepreneurs and clinicians as, their specialties become the topic of our conversation.
Interesting. Very interesting. Has Kara ever been a guest?
She has. She was actually my second guest. We were actually talking with her a lot about DEI at the beginning of the year, right as, the regulations started to change, and it did vanish because legally it no longer exists. And she was just a fountain of information and inspiration during that entire conversation.
Very good. Have you ever been a guest on her show yet?
I have not had the pleasure yet.
Yeah, I think she's got a podcast. You might make a very good guest for her.
That is actually something that's been on my to-do list. So
I wonder where Joel's at. It's odd for him to not be here today.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Joel is currently traveling.
Is he? Where's he headed off to today?
I think he's in the process of heading back this direction. He comes across the pond every couple of months and stays for a few weeks. He's been trying to establish a U.S. version of his business, and he's been making connections left, right, and sideways.
I think he wants to get out of the U.K.
I think that he feels very restricted in the U.K. Because for those that aren't aware, Joel is neurodivergent. He's on the autism spectrum. I believe he's a level 2, but I haven't confirmed that, so don't quote me on that. But his support structures and the way the legal system works over there, it makes it harder for him to do business. And over here, I think he could thrive.
Who, where? Is somebody in the UK?
Yes, we're talking about the UK.
See, I didn't even need to know. The moment you said bad business regulations, I immediately thought, oh, shitty Europe. Immediately thought of it.
Joe
Sorry.
Phelps has seen. He's always talked about how awful it is there. How did you guys all get somebody good to talk to? Because both times I've had to drag you guys out of there.
Yes.
Nobody was letting me in their room.
You put us in the same room. We went back in the
Oh
same
no, did you get the same person? Well, you got somebody interesting. I know who you were in there with.
I did, and it was perfect. I couldn't have asked for better.
I was gonna say, I know you were entertained, that's for sure.
Well, on all kinds of levels.
Now, Keith, if she doesn't return next week, it's all your fault. All right, guys, we've got about 10 minutes left. Does anybody else have another car story they want to share?
I can tell you others, but I was like trying to think of like which one. Well, so since we're going in the summer, the reason why I had to change my car from one Kia to another, exact same thing, was because I buy the brand new car. I know I probably should have called you, Lynn, about like maybe some lemons or whatever, lemon laws thing. But I buy the car in in August, and now it goes through winter, and then now we're going back into summer, and I'm like, and the AC wasn't working, and we're going into summer. I scheduled an appointment with the dealership, but because they're so backed up because of all the remote car break-ins for Kia and Hyundai, the earliest appointment I could get was like a month away. So now I'm driving in the summer in Chicago in a car that has no air conditioning. I was like, finally, I get the appointment, and they go, good news and bad news. Good news is we found the problem. It's a little part that they need to change, whatever. Bad news, the part's on back order. I'm like, give me another car. I'm not leaving here in this same car after driving for 5 weeks in this weather. And that was June, July, and I'm going into August, and I'm going to drive down to Dallas. And, I was just like, They gave me, they traded in the car for equal pricing and everything. So no, I didn't have to get the legal problems in there, but it's just like, yeah, but I still had that experience of driving for 5 weeks in the summer with no air conditioning in Chicago. And it's just like, God.
Guys, also, I'm putting a link. Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, I'm putting a link to some professional headshot stuff because I know Colleen asked, but I'm going to put the link to.
That's good. Jeanette, thank you for the great information today. That was very helpful.
So, Mark, not to play the one-up game, but how about Alabama August heat in a Kia with no air conditioner driving a 3- and 7-year-old around in your back seat?
See, that's like pre-trial to hell.
Okay,
right, that's what
I'm jumping in. I'm going to tell you that I spent $110,000 cash buying a diesel Suburban when they came out. Drove it to New York, no problem. 20-hour drive. On the way home, it was shut off. If I shut it off, couldn't turn it back on. Finally got it started. And let me tell you, we drove that bad boy all the way home, and we could not accelerate over like 35. Longest drive of my life. And guess what? I had no fallback because if I had been making payments, they would have reimbursed my payments. And it was a 1.5-year battle, and I came out about 20,000 low. I was pissed. I will go through Duraburb and buy a regular Suburban and drive it to Orlando and have them put a diesel engine in it for me before I ever buy another diesel through Suburban again, ever.
Well, guys, on the bright side, at least none of us live in Arizona or Nevada. Those places are just pre-trials to hell. I remember I got stuck there, like, because I was like flying, because, trying to come from like the West Coast to the rest of America, it's just like, it's atrocious. It's like you have to go through like these crazy side quests. And I get stuck in Phoenix, and it's so hot that like I go up to the glass and I touch it, and it's like you can just feel the intensity of the heat out there. Like never again. I don't want to be stuck in that place. Okay, that's a
and
weird
the fact that some people live
hell.
out there. And
Let me tell you a funny story about going out there. I'm from Florida, and I followed my husband. Well, I followed my husband out there, but I had never driven on anything that wasn't flat. I drove on a bridge once, and then I drove out west like this through the mountains, right? And I rode my brakes the whole time. And so my brakes got hot. Well, we got down in a level area. I got down, and I had blown the head gasket by doing all this. And so my husband tied me to his truck ahead of him and was pulling me, and I'm laying on the brakes again. And there's no brakes. And pretty soon I'm going ahead of him. And I'm tied to him. And he was pissed. He's like, are you kidding me? And so he just nails it. Like that's going to help. We finally got off and he went over to a cement light post and went around it so I would hit it and it would stop me.
Oh, jeez.
And I'm still married to him.
I was just going to say, are you still married to him, guy?
We didn't speak the rest of the way through Green Valley. That was like in Green Valley on our way out to Utah. Didn't speak for a long time after that, for like hours. I was so pissed. Scared to death. Because I honestly had gone over a bridge once and that's it.
From a towing perspective, it is the rear vehicle that has to do the braking for both vehicles.
Well, it doesn't work if you don't have brakes because you got them
Exactly, but that was planned a little bit wrong.
Yes, well, it was like nightmare. I just don't do things like that with my husband anymore. This
All
was
I'm
been
gonna say
fun.
is the best stories always start with somebody playing something just a little bit wrong.
Yeah.
I want to thank all of you for coming here today. I appreciate your time. I hope, Colleen, you are the last of the newbies that's still on here. And Matt, I hope you guys will come back and join us again next week. I will make sure that you'll get a thank you email from me and you will get a copy of the chat. I will clean it all up so that you can go through and find everybody's name and find their contact information very quickly. You'll get all of that probably within 24 hours.
Thank you so much, Lynn. This was so much fun. Have a
Thanks,
blessed
Lynn.
day.
Yay. I'm very appreciative to have you join us.
And Deanna, it's not one upping, but it's not because I didn't have it's downing, but I did have an experience where I was driving from Chicago to Birmingham with a teammate of mine and her two kids in the back seat. So that's, I don't know, like 15-hour drive or whatever it is. I don't know. I don't remember, but it's just like, yeah, no, I did have the AC, and most of the time that they were, the three of them were sleeping. But I do have a little experience in the matter of having like the 2 and 4-year-old in the back seat while, the mother's over there trying to be like, keep it down. I'm like, while I'm trying to drive.
Yeah, this is why I'm just gonna fly. I don't care. Like I'm not, but it's okay though, guys. I won't be that annoying person that brings their like child that like they don't control or discipline onto like a plane and then just like let their child just like do whatever and kick the seat. Nah, not happening. My children.
We got to get Jamari some kids. Deanna, you have a few extras you can loan him, right?
I kind of like the models that I have. I'd rather keep them.
That would be a great business. Loan a kid.
Those of you that don't know, Deanna's like
there's an 80s movie about that, Jamari. Look it up.
Oh, yeah, that's
Deanna, you started having those children before they started the opportunity. They're going to start offering you $5,000 for each child.
What now?
That's true.
What are you talking about?
They're talking about trying to increase the birth rate by offering women $5,000 for every child they have. You kind of missed the boat on that one.
Yeah, and I'm going to smack any of my daughters if they participate. Incentivized childbirth is not a thing. $5,000 is not going to pay for 20 years of the heartache and headache of raising a kid. Good luck.
Make sure you add that to the talks you give them about the facts of life, will you?
Absolutely.
Korea's been doing that, by the way, a lot. Korea and Japan, because like Japan's actually just like they just have a literal scheduled extinction because if they don't start populating again, in the next 25, 50 years, no more Japan at all.
Ironically, if they're worried about population, just have China remove the 2 limit child, limit.